Hey guys, what's going on? So tonight, The Rise of Skywalker releases. I am down here at David's place. Welcome, David.
Hey guys.
We're going to be talking about our predictions. So as you guys are seeing this, we are most likely in the movie theater. Of course, if you're watching later, then we're already out. But we want to get our thoughts, how we think it's going to end, how we want it to end, stuff like that. Now, critics have not been too great so far. We haven't read anything in depth, so we don't really know anything about the movie just yet. But overall, critics are not liking it, you'd say?
So Rotten Tomatoes have given the score a 58% based off the critic reviews, which is that's not great. That's the lowest I think we've ever gotten for any Star Wars film.
I never go off critics anyway, but I'm still excited for it. But so first question, we're gonna start with David, is how do you want it to end? Not how you think it'll end, but if you're making the movie, like how do you want the saga to end? It's a loaded question, I know.
I mean, it's called The Rise of Skywalker, so I want it to come full circle with the Skywalker. So we started with Anakin, we went to Luke, and then it should end with either Kylo or Rey. I really feel like Rey's gonna end up being like a Skywalker, or somehow, in that loop of the Skywalkers. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but I really just want it to come full circle in terms of just cleaning up and finishing the story.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I want to see Rey become a Skywalker. I would really like to see that, although I know a lot of people, Rich Boy Jay, would not like that idea.
You know what might upset me is if they're like, anybody can be a Skywalker.
Oh god, that would
I'll get really upset if that's what they go with the direction.
That would be silly. My ideal situation is, although, see, are they talking about Kylo Ren though? Because he's technically a Skywalker.
Yeah, he is technically a Skywalker.
I would like for Rey to be the Skywalker. I'd like for her to save the day. But in an ideal ending, I'd also like for her to die. I'd like for her to die saving everybody. I think that would be a statement, because no one important on the good side has died in Star Wars, really.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd like for Rey to die, to sacrifice herself, saving everybody. I think that would be tremendous for her character. And that's how I'd like to see it. Do you want anyone to die saving, or do you want everyone to kind of like be happy in the end? And
if Kylo really does stay to the dark side, I just want him to die.
do you want him to stay to the dark side?
I kind of do. I think I'd be upset if he went on good side last minute.
Yeah, I think my biggest worry is they're just gonna follow the same format as like Return of the Jedi, where Darth Vader becomes good in the end, right?
Yeah.
Kylo Ren becomes good. I'd like for Kylo Ren to stay bad. I'd like for him to be so down the dark side that he does not come back. And I'd like for Rey to eliminate him, but also Rey die, saving everybody. That way it's not some juicy, sobby love story. Everyone's happy in the end. There's some loss. There's some meaning behind the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like a revision of Return of the Jedi, then I mean, Kylo would sacrifice himself to protect Rey, and so destroying himself and also possibly the Emperor, because we know he's in the film.
Yeah.
So if that is what happens, I'm be a little disappointed.
Yeah,
but
I have a feeling that's gonna happen. I feel like J.J. Abrams, he kind of did a lot of Episode 4 in Force Awakens. I think they're going to follow the similar format, because generally The Force Awakens was a pretty well-received movie. So I think he's just going to follow the same thing. But that's actually a good transition. So Emperor's back. What are we thinking?
I want it to be good. When he's on screen, it should like take the breath out of the room, basically.
So you think he's going to come on screen
or
and
take the air out of the room?
You think he's back, like in a physical being, or is he a ghost, or?
I don't know. I mean, they're playing around so much with the clone DNA stuff on the Mandalorian TV show that I think it's going to be very possible that that's somehow ingrained into the film with how Palpatine comes back. But I really don't think that's even the bigger deal here. It's just what his character is going to be doing in the movie. Has he been manipulating Rey or Kylo or this entire thing this entire time for the last couple of years? That'll be interesting to me. Or is he just like chilling in the background? Like, there's just so many questions. They just got to present him well, and they got to really make him like the big bad, and like he can't go out the same way he did in Return of the Jedi. Like, it's got to be something different. It's got to be something you weren't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, he's been calling the shots in the entire saga, even if he wasn't really introduced in Episode 4, barely in Episode 5. So I'm actually happy that Palpatine's back. I think he's just going to be a ghost because obviously like people like Qui-Gon and Yoda can harness that power to come back in the afterlife and control things, as we saw Yoda in The Last Jedi, strike the lightning. So my ideal situation is Palpatine's back, but he's a ghost, but he's still controlling everything. He's still using the Force to control Kylo, manipulate him, manipulate Rey, a whole bunch of people. I would not like for him to be physically back. I don't just think that's good, because he got thrown down to the core of the Death Star and blew up. So I would not like for him to be back in physical form. If he is, I don't think it's going to detract from my experience, but
I think he is going to be at least somewhat physical. He might be a little bit.
Do you think he's going to be like
I think he's going to be like a manifestation of both.
Like in Battlefront, like in the campaign when he like
no,
comes, no?
I don't think it's going to be
like a physical person.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something more physical.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. All I'm excited for is that all those Imperial Star Destroyers coming out of that ice.
Let's talk about that. Where do we think those guys came from?
I really don't know. And then we know from the Lego sets that there's these Sith troopers, and they're more than just the one Sith trooper we've seen. Apparently, they're Sith jet troopers now, and if you look closely at that officer figure we got in that one battle pack, he has a whole new emblem. So it could be the following of Palpatine.
It's like a new legion.
New legion.
Yeah.
New, other than the First Order.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. So if that's the case, and it's like a Sith following, and that what all those Star Destroyers are is like this big Sith rise.
Yeah, it's like its own like subgroup or something like that. What's interesting to point out is that the Star Destroyers that we see in the trailer, the Imperial ones, are Class 1. Class 1 was in Episode 4, maybe 5, but it definitely wasn't Episode 6. So it's interesting to think that maybe Palpatine was planning this for an entire time, because it's the first variant of Star Destroyers we've ever seen that are in the Rise of Skywalker. So it leads the question, did Palpatine foresee everything? Did he have a contingency plan for just in case he got thrown down the Death Star? So there's a lot of questions. I think it's just going to be a fleet that's just been in hiding. I think that's a pretty easy way to play it off, and I wouldn't really care. I do want to see them integrate something from The Last Jedi at the end with the hinting at the new Force-sensitive generation. I'd like for them to integrate that at some point. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know.
Oh, man. I think that was one of the one thing that left quite a bad taste in my mouth from The Last Jedi is how Rian Johnson ended it, which it should have just ended on the Falcon jumping the light speed or whatever, but then they did that little kid with the little lightsaber from earlier from Canto Bight, and honestly, I was like, "This is so no."
It seemed like a lot.
This is so forcefully here.
I think that's going to be the biggest concern for me too. Is it's two different directors. They very clearly had two different interpretations of what the sequels were.
Yeah.
So it's going to be J.J. Abrams connecting with The Force Awakens, and I would assume leaving The Last Jedi in a lot of aspects. I would hope that they still continue and connect a lot of the concepts we got from The Last Jedi, but I just don't think we're going to see a strong continuation of like, okay, here's the end of Episode 8, here's 9, here's a continuing that same story. I think we're going to get a little bit of difference.
The story should end, although from what I've seen from like the vague reviews is that apparently it just leaves you with more questions than answers, which is not good. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I saw a little bit ago, and if that's the case, I mean, it could be a good and bad thing, because then you can always just make it up with TV shows and stuff like that, or another movie maybe far, far away. But I don't know. Regardless, honestly, I'm kind of happy the Skywalker trilogy or saga is ending.
I'm agree with you.
With the Mandalorian TV show out, and with how successful it is being right now, it's proven that you can totally go off and with other things in Star Wars and totally make it feel like Star Wars.
It's like the movies that we're going to be getting in 20 whatever, they're not going to be constrained to what we know as a TIE fighter and an X-Wing and the Skywalker saga. Like, we'll be able to finally get newer things, and I think that they've done a good job introducing new concepts, Death Troopers on Rogue One and The Last Jedi with ATM-6, but there's only so much difference you can do when you're in that same storyline. So I'm really happy that the Skywalker saga is ending over 40 years, but I'm also sad.
It's sad, but also happy, because we need the fresh slate to really start to make a whole new story in the Star Wars universe.
Exactly.
And I'm glad we're gonna finish this up. I'm excited. I want to see it. I'm really crossing my fingers. I am so crossing my fingers that this isn't another Last Jedi, that this isn't another controversial Star Wars movie that is going to be highly debated for years and years between fans of like whether it was good or bad, because that's what happened with The Last Jedi.
I think if J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy and whoever is in this filmmaking process is smart, they're going to do a very simple, nothing too risky, a very just simple callback to what old, gritty Star Wars is. That's what I'm okay with. I'm not looking for them to expand new or jump into new areas like The Last Jedi.
No.
I'm just looking for good Star Wars, good plot, good action scenes, and I'm really, really hoping that either Rey or Kylo die, because I think that's an ultimate end to their characters. So.
Yeah, we need I agree with everything you said there, and yeah, I just need this to finish, and then going back to the fans being divided. You know, even though the Rotten Tomato score as of this video is 58%, could go higher to like 60 or so percent. As long as the fan score is like 85 or 90%, then that's okay. As long as the fans like it, nobody cares about the critics.
Exactly. I never listen to critics. I think they judge movies way too harshly.
There's been is just so many movies. I can tell you right now, there's like half the movies I've always loved, critics hated them. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people taking the critics' reviews way too seriously, and they're like, "Oh, this movie's done. I'm not going to go see it." Just see it for yourself. No one knows what you like other than you. I mean, we're definitely advocating for you to see the movie, regardless of whether you like the OT, the prequels, sequels, anything like that. Go see the movie. It's the end of the saga of all of them. So, at the very least, if you're indifferent about movies we've gotten from Disney, like, this is the end of the story. So, I definitely hope that you guys all see it.
We're going to come back to, like, this video, basically, and do our review or what we think of it.
Yeah, I think it might be two separate, because I might not want to put a review of it, like, the same day that it came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, stay tuned for that. We'll probably do a second part on this channel, giving our thoughts, and it will be having spoilers, but it'll be like maybe a week or so after this video. Also, guys, tomorrow at 12 p.m., the much anticipated Star Wars tribute video goes live. Make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm very excited for that. Once again, thank you, David, for joining us today.
No problem.
See him in a lot more videos. We got a lot of exciting content coming on both of our channels. Also, preparing for the Rise of Skywalker is out now. Yeah, it is.
By the time you see in this, it's premiered.
It is out.
Yeah.
It is out already. Check the link down below in the description. Check it out. Your boy made it pretty good. Not gonna lie.
It's a good video. Yeah, y'all should go see it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you later. Take it easy.
Bye, guys.
Peace.